Hello guys, I'm back with another video, and today I want to give my thoughts on Stranger Things about season 5, volume 2. Cause I just finished it, so this will be a spoiler review. So yeah, it's a level of spoilers. So if you haven't seen them yet, or you just so if you haven't seen them yet, then you should click away. But if you've seen them or you just don't care about spoilers, well then you can watch this. But anyways, so yeah, just starting off with my overall thoughts on the season. I really liked it. I know a lot of people hated it or found it underwhelming or something, which I just don't understand. Like, seriously, like it was really, really good. I thought it was great, and it wasn't as big scale as probably as Volume 1, but I mean, it's a middle part. It's the calm before the storm. You know, there's a finale after this. It's not. People are acting like it's a finale, right? Like, and it's not. So yeah. So I find that stupid, there are some negatives I have though. So yeah, getting into some stuff. So yeah, getting into some of the stuff I really like, some positives here, is that I thought the Max and Holly stuff and Camazotz was really, really good. I thought that was probably the best part. Although it is like kind of stupid that people pointed out she had two chances to run away to get out of there, and she just stood there for a little while, waiting, and is standing there. So, but yeah, I think that was really good. I thought that was all very interesting and stuff. And I think that the Steve and Dustin stuff, I thought that was also really cool. Because obviously they're in the Upside Down, and then they get into like an actual fight, which I thought was really cool. Because that's just what everything was building up to, and it just made sense what's happened. And then I liked how after that they made a finally again, with in the whole "you die I die" line. It does make me feel like one of them might die in the finale. Right, like that's just kind of scary, but also at the same time there's more reason to think maybe Steve might not die, which I'm happy about, because yeah, and if one of them is gonna die, it's probably gonna be Steve. But yeah, which really sucks, because yeah, he's my favorite character. So yeah, I really like all that stuff. I thought that Will has been consistently this season, at least, one of the best characters this season. At least he's now become like one of my favorite characters in the entire show, and if he keeps it up in the last episode, well, then he could become one of my favorite characters in the entire show, based on how good he is this season. Like he's really good and really interesting. I thought, yeah, I really like him getting powers now, and like because he's also really cool and already very powerful. Like he killed a bunch of Demogorgons. He killed 3 Demogorgons all at once, and only got a single drop of blood. And he killed them brutally too, like the Vecna's curse way. So in this and then at the end of volume 1, and now in Shock Jock, he breaks Vecna's leg and possesses like Vecna for a second, which I thought was really cool. So I really like that. I think that like the him coming out thing, I think that it was handled well in a certain aspect, but also like the dialogue was still a little bit weird surrounding it and all that stuff. I think that it needed to happen. I think that now is a good place for this to happen. A lot of people are like, oh, this should have happened last year, or this should have happened in volume 1. It's like, no, this is really the time that it makes sense. And a lot of people are like, well, they're about to go fight. Well, they're not going to go fight right immediately now, right? So yeah, that's why I thought that was good, and I thought that was handled well. So anyways, but yeah, just think about more stuff. So yeah, there was a upside down twist, which I think really was really cool. I'm a little bit conflicted on it, but I also really think it was really cool that it was a wormhole. Obviously, it was tying into what Mr. Clark said earlier this season, but yeah, I thought that was really cool how that's a wormhole. And And like it actually does give a lot more purpose to Dimension X, because when I first watched Stranger Things season 5, I didn't 100% know what that place was. I'm seeing Stranger Things season 4 when like Vecna was shot there. I didn't really know what it was. Right, I was like, is this the upside down? I didn't know. Okay, I was much younger than I probably thought it was the upside down. And over years, I just remember that being the upside down that he was shot into. That's all I remembered. But I really like the then like years later when I rewatched the season, I was like, that's not the upside down. And then other people were like, it's a place called Dimension X. I was like, that's some what? That's so unnecessary. You're just adding in another dimension for absolutely no reason. The upside down, it could have literally acted as the upside down. But no, now it makes sense with the upside down being this wormhole. And that also makes sense of why Vecna was able to avoid, why Hopper and all them weren't able to find Vecna through all the crawls, because he was not in the upside down, he was in Dimension X. So, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool that was a worm, the dimension, that's a wormhole. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. So, but yeah, yeah, there are some negatives. I'm just thinking because I had more negatives. Don't exactly. Oh yeah, there's a negative. The cast is growing way too big. Like, the cast is like humongous at this point, and it's actually like, getting outlandish, which is kind of insane, because like, so yeah, the cast, sorry, I had to pause it there for a second. So, but yeah, the cast is getting way too big. I mean, now part of the main cast, Kieran Wheeler kind of is, which is not 100% clear, but yeah, Vicky is, which which I'm fine with. Mr. Clark is, which I'm also kind of fine. I'm kind of fine with all these people joining, but Kieran really should have died there. And also, like, they really had to start killing off characters, right? Like, I think, like, if you want to introduce more people, that's fine, but kill some people off. Like, at the end of Volume 1, there should have been a big character death. Like, I don't care. Like, a Demogorgon should have got somebody from the main cast. Right? Also, not to mention that I keep forgetting about characters like Argyle is out of the picture. So is Yuri. So is Enzo. Like, are you seriously telling me they're not going to try to help save the world? Also, not to mention the fact that they could reasonably be trapped in Hawkins with the quarantine and everything. So now they're just gone. But Vicky and now all these other people are part of the main cast. It's like, just start killing people off, in which case then there won't be an issue there. Right? Like, Max rejoined the main cast, really. And Holly's joined the main cast this season. So is Derek. Like, and also that was a little bit anticlimactic that Holly got out of where she, of like the meat sack she was the meat sack of where she was in Dimension X, got out of there, had a little portal thing with the run out the hill, and then she got out, she was in her body, she came out, she ran away, she started running away, sorry, I had to pause there for a second again. She jumped through Dimension X into the upside down, was falling for like 10 hours straight while all this other stuff was coming down. Got just swooped back up by Vecna, went back to Dimension X, and got put right back into Camazotz. Like, I thought that was a little anticlimactic. Also, the ending was really weird, with him like doing that weird shit. But yeah, whatever. I thought that was a little weird. With Vecna and like all the kids and everything, that was weird. But yeah, that didn't really make a lot of sense. So anyways, but yeah. So I thought that was a little anticlimactic. And I do like Max finally coming out of the coma. Like, yeah, that was a really cool moment to see that finally happen. And then with the music referenced like at the end of season 4 and all that stuff, that was really cool. And even when she was unconscious, and it was a reference to Jurassic Park, which really makes you think, this season should have took place in 1990. I know it was already a big time jump. This would even be a bigger time jump. It would age up Holly a little bit more. Where the actor, who's I'm pretty sure she's 14 in real life, but she's playing like a 7-year-old, is now like actually, like now at least is a couple years older. That way, that even makes it more reminiscent of all the shit of season 1 and all that stuff. That would make a lot more sense, and I think that 1990 it would make all the 90s references movies, because yeah, there are a lot of 80s references, I'm pretty sure, but like yeah, but at the same time, a lot of those count as 90s references because they went into the 90s. A lot of these movie franchises, and then also there's the Home Alone stuff, what they do with the Demogorgons in the Turnbow Trap, and now there's these Jurassic Park references, but at the hospital with Vicky, Lucas, Max, and Robin, and with the Demodogs instead of raptors. I thought that was really cool. So yeah. But I still think it should take place in the 90s. But I do think the reference is really cool still. And like her finally being out of the coma, even though I think the Duffer Brothers forgot, because like originally she's like, I can't really see, I can barely hear and barely feel, and then they're like, oh, you're just adjusting your new body, which I understand, because like like in Kill Bill, it really reminds me of Kill Bill, because when she came out of the coma, I knew she wouldn't be able to walk, because in Kill Bill, the bride can't do that when she comes out of the coma. So, but the fact is that she was blinded at the end of last season. Like she was actually blinded. She didn't lose her eyes, but her eyes were seemingly very blinded. So I mean, I don't know how they would explain that, how that is explained, because they haven't explained it yet, because she should not have any eyes. At the end of last season, she was blinded. It's either their for the forgot, which I don't think they did, or they were just like, yeah, it would just be too bad for this character who was trapped inside a mind prison for like 2 years. So yeah, that was a little weird. So anyway, but yeah, that was weird that she should be blinded. But yeah, I think that would be a little too shitty for Max to go through after everything she's already went through. So yeah, I don't really see how people find this home, but there are some negatives. I think I had another, I just don't really remember what. There is this one which I'm kind of mixed about, is that, I heard this, I'm not 100% sure if it's true, but there's that one scene, where, like, Jonathan throws away the engagement ring with Nancy, when usually, I like that because it's not the trope, because usually with relationships, they, it's like, oh, will you marry me right before we die, and then they don't die, so it's like, yeah, sure, it's like which is so unrealistic, because that would never happen in real life, but I like how they didn't do that trope, and they instead threw the engagement ring away, which I thought was cool, and I thought that was just them being like, there's still issues we had to work out before we get married. But then the Duffer Brothers, I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but they apparently posted that no, that was them breaking up, which I did not interpret from the scene. Like, I did not get that from that scene. I just got but on one hand, I didn't get that from the scene, and the scene should tell you, or at least show you it. And if it's not going to show you, then they should make it a little more clear if that's the only explanation you get for the time being. But if it's not gonna tell you that because it's withholding information from you that you could find out later and all that stuff, that's other complicated. But this isn't a twist, isn't anything like that. It's supposed to illustrate it, and I did not get that vibe from this. So yeah, but on one hand, I didn't get it from that scene, which I think is stupid. I think they really should have made it more clear. But on the other hand, I'm happy they broke up, because because they never really had chemistry to me. Like, I just never liked the relationship. Not really. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Steve. That wasn't even it that much. I think Steve and Nancy have a lot more chemistry than Jonathan and Nancy. And I think that, the relationship has just been shit for the last couple seasons. I mean, the first season, they bickered a bunch. Up until they became friends. Second season, they got together. Third season, they just fought, like, all the time. There was literally an arc about them fighting. Because, yeah, all that stuff. Then, in the fourth season, Jonathan is trying to slowly break up with her. Well, she doesn't even, she doesn't go anywhere. She doesn't care to go anywhere. He doesn't care. She doesn't care to go to California to see him. She doesn't care to go to California to see him, so he doesn't care to go to Hawkins to see her, right? So it's just, and then he's just becoming a stoner. He doesn't even, like, they're supposed to get into that college together. He doesn't even want to go to that college. He just applies to another college in California, so yeah. So yeah, they completely, and then now, and now they're finally broke. And in the season, because okay, here's what I think I forgot about. Jonathan was being such a bitch. Okay, he was pissing me off, and because, like, he was like, this season he's been whining like, oh, Steve's trying to take my girlfriend. Blah, 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 blah. That's because you don't care about your relationship at all. Okay, I mean, if you were smarter, you would realize that you should care about your relationship, so that way Steve doesn't take your girlfriend. Because, quite frankly, because you don't care about your relationship at all to even try to salvage it, but then you whine when last season you were literally trying to slowly break up with Nancy, and this season you're whining that that somebody else is trying to take your girlfriend, when you're quite obviously, like, not like you're not putting any effort into your relationship, buddy. Like, he was just being a piece of shit. And then he has a goal this season to be like, are you angry at me or something? Huh? Because you seem kind of pissed off. It's like, buddy, okay? Do not understand the fact that you are in what seems right now, obviously it's not, but what seems right now, another dimension that's an awful shithole, and with monsters literally everywhere, and you split up into groups. It's like, you hesitated. You split up into groups. Obviously, you've done nothing for the relationship. That feels it more. And now you. And so, and her sister is missing, potentially dead. To her knowledge, potentially dead. Kidnapped by this evil monster guy with telekinesis. And this, and I'm sorry, everybody knows, but and her mom and her dad are in the hospital getting critical treatment, very, very injured because a monster viciously attacked them and destroyed their home and all this stuff. And her brother's in danger, and she hasn't seen her brother in a long time, and he could be dead because he is in a lot of danger fighting monsters and all this shit. I'm sorry if that would probably piss somebody off. That would probably, like, piss somebody off or annoy not to be so happy. And he's being such a piece of shit. And then, yeah, so I'm happy they broke up, but it's also because that does give way to Steve potentially living, which is better. Because if that's the case, because if they're broken up now, well, then Steve potentially could have a love interest, right? So if Steve has a love interest, well, then he has a better chance of living. If Steve loves, so yeah, that would be really good. But ultimately, I'm still obviously scared for Steve. So yeah. I did a pause there again for a second. So but yeah, so I am worried about Steve, but ultimately, it does seem like he might make it. So also, one of the shots from the trailer where Steve hugs Dustin. Dustin's crying, but he seems pretty calm. That's ultimately him crying about Eddie and all that stuff. So that's good. You've seen that way. That's like not Steve ready to sacrifice himself. At least not that shot. So yeah. So that's good. I like them bringing back the Demogorgon. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah. I'm thinking about more stuff. Yeah, I really like the Max stuff, and I'm really happy she's back in the main cast instead. Oh yeah, another negative that I have. Callie, bro. 8 has done nothing this season besides be a bitch. Okay, and like, okay, so like, if it was like, so I was excited. I was one of the people who was excited that she was coming back because she has superpowers, and that's pretty cool. And ultimately, I didn't hate that episode that much, okay? I just thought it was poor timing. Poor timing. It was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. It happened a couple episodes earlier in the season. Like in between the Demodogs popping out of the holding upside down and killing a bunch of military men. And a bunch of main characters are inside of that building and Will's possessed by the mind flare. Right in between that and the next episode where the aftermath that happened, that was poor timing, and that's why everybody hated it. And so yeah, and it wasn't a great episode. And like yeah, it wouldn't be one of the best, and a lot of people would still hate it, but it was just awful timing. And it really does affect rewatches. So I'm happy that finally she's come back. I think that makes sense. And I like it. Up until this season happened. They better kill her off. They better kill her off. All I'm saying, they gotta kill her. Yeah, she's at it again. The main cast. I just kind of laughed when I seen that her friends died. I don't even know why. I liked one of the characters, but everything else I didn't really like. But yeah, they better kill her off this season because she's so annoying. Also, she's like, you can't do this. You can't do this. Blah, 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 you can't do this. You're not gonna go after a wonderful. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. She's so annoying. I hate her. Also, not to mention that the actress is. I don't know what happened to the actress, but she looks like she's 48 years old. Again, a lot of people make jokes like, oh, if they ever made a season 6, well, then the entire cast would be senior sisters or some shit like that. No, but seriously, she does look like she's like 42 years old or 48. She looks very old. So yeah, that was crazy, and I just really don't like her character. I just really hate her character. Also, I do think that they're probably gonna destroy Hawkins at the end of the season. I mean, the entire thing that Mike keeps foreshadowing is that like, oh yeah, they're gonna go to another like land, and even the fact that like both 11 and 8 were like, that's not gonna happen. Almost really not. It's like, okay, so it's probably gonna happen. Whoever doesn't die is probably gonna go somewhere else. And then I think that Hawkins might get destroyed. Very similar, like at the end of the It book, how Derry gets destroyed. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts. I ultimately really liked Volume 2, Season 5, Volume 2 of Stranger Things. Season 5, what? Okay. Volume 2 of Stranger Things, Season 5. I ultimately really liked it. I'm really excited for the finale, so yeah. Anyways, that was my thoughts. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.